a major U.S. spy base on Australian soil. Protests about its role in attacks on Gaza. An Australian senator calls for its closure, and a prime minister sacked soon after suggesting in November 1975 that the base be closed. Pine Gap has been spying on the world since 1970, when the joint U.S. and Australian base was established near Alice Springs. At the time, Prime Minister Gough Whitlam demanded answers to if and why the CIA had a spy base there, at the then-named Joint Defense Space Research Facility. Whitlam considered closing Pine Gap, raising the ire of those in the U.S. spy agency. Victor Marchetti, a CIA officer involved with Pine Gap, later said, "The threat to close Pine Gap caused apoplexy in the White House, and a kind of Chilean coup was set in motion." In a secret telex, the U.S. described Whitlam as a security risk to Australia. On November 11, 1975, Whitlam was due to inform Parliament about the secret CIA presence in Australia. Before he could, he was summoned, then sacked, by Governor-General John Kerr. According to reports, John Kerr was highly regarded by the CIA and thought of as their man in Australia. Through the decades, Pine Gap has remained a thorn in the side for many, with recent protests claiming the base is actively supplying intelligence used for military operations against Gaza. And recently, Senator Jackie Lambie has suggested closing Pine Gap in retaliation for the tariffs of U.S. President Donald Trump that target Australian industry, including steel and aluminium production. Australia's leaders seem deliberately silent or incapable of commenting strongly on President Trump's increasing war of tariffs against democratic countries worldwide. Senator Lambie has strongly exposed the elephant in the room, Pine Gap, that has haunted decades of Australian policy. And time may prove that Senator Lambie is correct, and that Pine Gap really is Australia's trump card, a powerful way of answering the U.S. president's tariffs, an attack on Australia from a country we once called a friend. Standing up and doing the right thing could also mark the time Australia finally grows up and abandons centuries of colonialism by countries like America. Many once looked to the U.S. as a shining beacon for freedom across the globe. Sadly, it is now a country descending into chaos and confusion, forging a path against the very values it once so proudly stood and fought for.